Daniel, you scored 10 points in the second half. They scored 38 for the game. Your defense gave up 5 touchdowns in the second half. Tell me again whose fault that was.
I can't even begin to blame the offense in that game. We gave up 3 or 4 touchdowns in that fourth quarter. We gave up like 3 touchdowns in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, the Ravens scored 38 in that game and they lost because the defense gave up 5 touchdowns in the second half.
Now,
come on, bro.
Listen, I got on our defensive coordinator McDonald for that game, but he has done a great job since then. So I'm willing to write that game off and say, look, what are you gonna do? It's Tyreek Hill. Honestly, you don't have to make excuses, right? Like Tyreek Hill is that guy. We're gonna talk about him right now. All right. You don't have to point fingers, right? All you have to say is, look, man, it was Tyreek Hill. All right, we did cover him. He got open. What do you want me to do? And that's pretty much all you have to say. All right. In fact, let's get right into it. Tyreek Hill, ladies and gentlemen. How do you guys feel about Tyreek Hill? Is he on his way to the Hall of Fame? Is he on that road to Hall of Fame? Is he an all-time great wide receiver? What do you think, B?
I think he is. I think that there's some people who don't look at him that way because he played in Kansas City and he was playing with Pat Mahomes and he was part of that offense. And you just kind of, people give credit to Andy Reid and Mahomes and that's what it is. And obviously, those people are going to look at last year without Tyreek and say, hey, the offense was still good. They still won the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. But Tyreek Hill there are very, very few players who will change the trajectory of your franchise, right? And most of them are quarterbacks. It's the most important position in the league. Now, nobody wins on their own, even at quarterback, right? But Miami went from just some guys to a Super Bowl contender because they traded for Tyreek Hill. There are other really, really, really good, great wide receivers even who are out there who don't have that kind of impact on their team. We were just talking about Davante Adams. Davante Adams is a great player. He's having almost no impact in Las Vegas. And like I said, it's not a one player thing. But and this is just me personally. I don't look at Tua like he's a significant upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Like he's fine, but I don't think he's any kind of a great quarterback.
Well, we actually used to argue about that before they traded for Tyreek Hill. We argued how good Tua was, right? Because he looked average, right? Like he had some good games, he had some bad games. He wasn't consistent, right? They fired Brian Flores. I didn't like that. But when they brought in McDaniel and they traded for Tyreek Hill, all of a sudden, he's an MVP candidate. He's probably leading the MVP race right now.
Mm-hmm.
That in large part because of Tyreek Hill, because he wasn't doing that with it was just Jalen Waddle, who was another excellent wide receiver.
Yeah, and like I said, DeAndre Hopkins is a great wide receiver. He changes teams, and it doesn't change the trajectory of that franchise. And Tyreek Hill has, and I think that he's not super high up on the all-time lists as of right now in terms of yards and touchdowns and things like that. But he's kind of in the middle of his career. But just the impact that you get from him is unlike almost anyone else, right?
Yeah.
You saw Randy Moss come in and instantly was like the biggest threat in the league. And that's kind of what you see with Tyreek. He's just a guy that you can game plan for. You can give all the attention that you want to, and he's still going to beat you.
Yeah. And Clock says, yes, he beat us twice, both on one play with KC and Miami. And that's the crazy thing, right? Because they're going to go to him. He's going to go downfield. You commit a corner and a safety to cover him, and he still gets behind you. Right? Like he's not doing it off of some trick play. He's not doing it off of rub route. He's not doing it off of, I thought he was going this way, he went that way. Nah, he's just running. Right? You know where he's going. You got the angle, and he still gets past you. Whether he catches the ball in the air or he catches it short and then he just runs by you.
Yeah.
Right? he can kill you anyway, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's why when he has those games, he just goes off. You're just like, well, what are you gonna do, right? So that's how it was with Randy Moss. If Randy Moss wanted to have a Randy Moss game, there isn't a single player in the world that can stop him.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyreek Hill's in the zone right now. He decides he wants 2,000 yards. I fully believe he's going to get 1,000 yards this week.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
Wait, maybe not. He's hurt. He hasn't practiced, so he may not play this week.
Oh, okay.
So
he's still going to get 2,000 yards. That means when he comes back, he's going to get about 250.
Yeah.
So yes, I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he is an all-time great. He is a player that we'll never forget. And thank God Kansas City didn't want to pay him, because they offered him a contract. He said he wanted more, and they're like, all right, you're being greedy. If they decided, okay, fine, whatever, just take it, right? Jesus. I mean, they're already, I say they be the best team in the league, but they're already up there. But,
Ali, I don't think the Mahomes is leading the MVP race. When you have a guy who's set to go over 1,000 yards halfway through the season. I mean, I mean, I agree with you in that I don't think they're going to give it to Tyreek Hill. I mean, even if he breaks the record, I don't think they're going to actually give him the MVP award. But I think he is the best player in the league this season so far.
You're right. I don't. When you break a record like that, that is very hard. I mean, he will definitely be. He will get votes for sure.
I'm sure he will, but Calvin Johnson broke the record and did not win MVP.
That's true. He should have.
But again, they were a bad team when he broke the record, but still.
Yeah.